Hey, welcome everybody. We're about to get started. Thanks for joining. Today we're going to be talking about AI and how to use it for your oral surgeon practice. Really excited. There's some really specific pointers and tips that you're gonna get from this. I recently went to a meetup group, and it was actually with some, I'm going to call them colleagues, but they were not inside my industry and my space. And I knew several of the people, and I was shocked at how this AI meetup was so irrelevant to me. AI is so broad, and the topics that were discussed, I just couldn't relate to at all. This is going to be really different because this is just for oral surgeons. So a lot of practical stuff here. Specifically, we're going to be talking about what an AI prompt is, what the best ChatGPT version to have is, some practical things, how to respond to customers, how to create educational FAQs for your patients, how to create social media posts. And this is a little bit more advanced, and I'm trying to address all the audiences, everyone from a beginner, which is it's mostly going to be kind of beginner basic stuff, but really practical tips. But I also want to give something to the more advanced people that are using AI. So there's a lot of great content here. If you're serious, I know we all like to multitask, we like to respond to messages and so on. I'm gonna work fast. I'm gonna get right to the point on a lot of things. I think if you want some good takeaways, I would just ask if you could try to focus as best you can. Briefly about me, I am the owner of Oral Surgeon Marketing Pros. I've been in digital marketing for 13, 14 years now. We do have a podcast called Drill Down Podcast. I coach digital marketing agencies. I've won some awards from Google. I have a book called Drill Down, which is all about digital strategies for oral surgeons. And in December, we were an exhibitor for the Dental Implant Conference. It's a little bit about me. Let me jump right into the different versions. Now, we all know that AI is changing a lot. There still is actually a $20 version, GPT 4.0 it's called, but not too long ago, you can now get the GPT 4.0 version for free. It's just not going to work as fast, and they're going to limit the number of messages you can get per hour and per day. But for the normal person out there, there's plenty of space to use the GPT 4.0 version. So I would recommend it either if you're new to ChatGPT using it, or if you've been using it, you might still be on the 3.0 or 3.5 version. Just to upgrade to that 4.0 version, it's free. And if you're really into it, you could pay the extra $20 like I do. There is also a higher end version, a $200 version, which is really good on reasoning. Most people, I'm sure, don't need that, but it's doing some really exciting things. All right, so those are the versions. I'm starting out with a couple basic things. What is a prompt? A prompt is basically the instructions that you're going to give to ChatGPT to tell it what you want. The better of a communicator you are, the better you're going to be able to get the right results from ChatGPT. So be specific, be clear. And I'm going to give you one more tip. Feel free to argue with ChatGPT. Challenge them. Challenge your answer. Sometimes asking for a better answer, it's going to go deeper, and it's going to go deeper into the database and try to give you more accurate information. So I'm going to start with the best way to give a prompt, but I can tell you, I'm going to show you examples on how to give a prompt faster and to get quick results. But if you're wanting to be really thorough, it's always best to start with the best basics when you're starting out with anything. There's 4 things that you should communicate to ChatGPT to get the best results. First, define what role you want ChatGPT to play. So if you're wanting social media posts, tell it that, hey, you're an expert at social media posts. If you're wanting coaching for your practice, say you are an expert business coach and you specialize in the field of oral surgery. So you get the idea. Tell ChatGPT what expert role you want it to play. Step 2, give it a general context, just kind of overview, like, what are you trying to do? I'm wanting 10 social media posts for my practice, or I want to bounce some questions off you on how to better run my practice. Just an overall general context. Step 3, now get very, very specific. And the more specific you could be, the better results you're going to get back. So tell ChatGPT exactly what you're wanting. In this case, give me a compelling job ad with a clear call to action. And then step 4, this is sort of well, if you don't ask this, it's not going to ask for questions, generally speaking, but sometimes in some cases, you really want like a great answer. So you could say, before you give me your best answer, ask me any questions if need be. Now, when I added that in past months, it would almost always ask me more questions. It's starting to ask less questions, which is nice. But again, I'm going to show you some faster ways to get information. But starting out, I just wanted to cover the basics with you. All right, I'm jumping right into some really specific examples for your practice. I'm guessing you have most of these, but if you need any more, or if you want to look at what you currently how you currently respond to patients, it's really easy just to drop these prompts in to ChatGPT and you're going to get answers right away. And then you can compare what you're getting versus what you're giving, and you can look for improvements. So this one is, write a polite email reply to a patient who asked if we accept Delta dental insurance. Keep it professional and friendly. Now notice I didn't use that 4-step prompt. I just dropped it in there, and oftentimes you can get a really good answer, probably over 90% of the time. Okay, now I did this, and here's what I got. It writes a letter for you. And writing professionally takes time, and it's so nice just to have a polished email right away. Of course, read everything. Don't assume that ChatGPT is right. Of course, you have to know your practice. You have to know what you can and can't say. In this case, thank you for reaching out to us. We appreciate you considering our office for your care. At this time, we are not an in-network provider with Delta Dental, but many of our patients with Delta Dental still choose us. We're happy to provide you with the necessary paperwork to submit to your insurance for possible reimbursement, depending on your plan. If you'd like, we can go over your benefits and provide a cost estimate before any treatment is scheduled. Please let us know if you have any other questions and if you would like to schedule a consultation. Clean, professional, friendly, sales-oriented, just like that. It comes back immediately. You can literally copy and paste this right into an email and send it off. If it fits, of course, replace the basic things like patient's name. All right, here's another one. How to follow up with a text in the situation of a no-show. Write a short text to a patient who missed their consultation appointment yesterday. Hi, patient. We missed you at the consultation yesterday. We understand things come up. Let us know if you'd like to reschedule. We'll find a time that works for you. Call or text us anytime. Immediately, just like that. Let me give you another one. A job description for hiring. Now, I will say with this, the more details you know, the more accurate of a job description that you're going to get. So write a job description for a front desk receptionist in an oral surgeon office. Emphasize customer service and communication. This, I believe, is this is going to be a 2-step. It didn't fit all on the screen. I wanted to make sure you can read it. So the job title, front desk receptionist, oral surgery office. We're looking for a friendly, reliable person. So on, this role is about creating a positive first impression and ensuring a smooth experience for every patient who walks through the door. So this will list key responsibilities, kind of what's it all involved, and then who we're looking for, excellent communication and people skills, a calm, compassionate attitude toward patients, and so on. Previous front desk or healthcare office experience is a plus. This is a great opportunity for someone who enjoys working with people, etc. So this is what I do. I'm going to go back. I will often drop something like this in very simply, even though I know other information, and then I get this back. This is what I got back. And from here, I'll say, oh, add this salary range or add this or add that, or take out this. And just right away, it's going to give you feedback. So that's an example of sometimes you could just drop an easy prompt inside ChatGPT, and then you can get instant results and then instant modifications once you ask for an updated version. All right, here's one. This is really important, customer reviews. If you're not getting customer reviews on a regular basis, you really need to, and this is going to help make it easy. So write a short message a surgeon can say after a successful dental implant procedure to ask for a Google review. Thanks again for coming in today. If you feel like we took good care of you, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a quick review on Google. It helps other patients find us and know what to expect. And from here, I would suggest leaving a link right to your Google Business Profile link so it makes it easy for them to leave a review. Pretty straightforward. It's polished. You just copy and paste it. Works great. All right. Prompts for patient education handouts or frequently asked questions. Create a bulleted frequently asked question sheet about wisdom teeth removal for patients to take home. Write it at a 7th grade reading level. Okay, this is pretty detailed. Now, this is in an area that, of course, you're going to want the doctor to review what's being said, because, of course, you don't want to, in anything that you get with ChatGPT, like review it, because ChatGPT does make mistakes. It absolutely does. Usually it's right, but we can't afford mistakes, so everything must be reviewed. But this is really good. This is an amazing start if you're trying to create an FAQ for something like this. So what are wisdom teeth? It explains it. Most people have 4, but some have fewer or none. Why do you need to remove them? They can get stuck, impacted, cause pain or swelling. They may grow at the wrong angle. Just all kind of good basic information. It's laid out nicely. Does everyone need their wisdom teeth removed? Not always. These are good, frequently asked questions, and it certainly reduces phone calls and emails and people asking lots of questions. How long is recovery? Most people feel better in 3 to 5 days. Avoid hard food, straws, and heavy activity while you're here. And it goes on. Well, I need someone to drive me. Can I go to school or work the next day? This is a great way to get a really good start. Maybe in some cases even complete a handout. And then there's things like Canva that you could take this information and drop it in on Canva and create a very polished brochure for your practice, especially if you're looking to update some of your brochures. All right, so write a script. Now, I have just with this one prompt, I got several different scripts. Write a phone script for a receptionist answering a new patient inquiry about dental implants. So here's a new patient inquiry. Thank you for calling. Now, these, you might just get an idea. You might get like oh, yeah, I would like it if the person that answered the phone at our practice would say this or say that. And so, yes, we're accepting new patients. I'd be very happy to get a few details and help you schedule a consultation with one of our surgeons. May I start with your name? This polite, professional inquiry about wisdom teeth removal. Something really similar. We do wisdom teeth extractions regularly here. Are you calling for yourself or someone else? Can I get you scheduled for a consultation where the doctor will review x-rays and talk you through the best plan? Insurance question. Thank you for calling. How can I assist you? Yes, we work with many insurance plans. I'd be happy to check yours. May I get the name of your insurance company and your member ID? If we're not a network, we can still help you with paperwork for reimbursement. Here's 2 more. Put them both on the same slide. Caller wants to reschedule. You know, how you word it and the person's ability on the phone might save a new patient or not. Post-surgery questions or concerns. You know, thanks for calling. Here's empathy. I'm sorry for your discomfort. Let me check in with our surgical assistant or doctor and get right back to you. Can I place you on a brief hold or call you back shortly? Now, that was all from one prompt. A great way to kind of reevaluate your practice and what's normally being said. But it gets much better. I won't go there yet, but hang on. I have a really, really neat strategy, and I think it's really going to raise the bar for customer service. All right, so here is one for creating social media posts for your practice. And I really do believe it's helpful to be active with your social media. I think in today's world of high customer standards, it's just expected that you get reviews, that you respond to reviews on a regular basis, and that you're active with your social media post. If you're not, it kind of makes you look like that house that has boards on it in that neighborhood with 12-inch grass, and you're wondering, does anyone live there? Are they busy? Do they interact with their patients, or are they just kind of stuck in their own world? So look involved, look informative, be helpful, be educational. So here's this one prompt: create 10 social media posts for my oral surgeon practice. Focus on patient education, frequently asked questions, common procedures. And you could drop a website link right in here, and it will go look at your website and it will get ideas. So I did that. And here's some prompts. What are wisdom teeth? Sedation options explained. Dental implants, a long-lasting solution. It will even include the hashtag, this one, Naperville Oral Surgery Care, because I dropped this Naperville Oral Surgery website in here. Let me give you some ideas to modify this prompt. Some people like their social media posts to be about customer reviews. So you could tell it to focus on customer reviews, or it could be on the whole variety of different services that you offer. Now, before you copy and paste and drop this on your social media platforms, you could find pictures. And I'm not going to go into Midjourney, but generally speaking, Midjourney is the best AI platform for authentic photos. Now, if you want to know how to connect Midjourney to your ChatGPT on the left, when you're using ChatGPT, these are just some bots that I'll cover soon. But you hit Explore GPTs, and then you type in Midjourney. And the one you're going to want is this one. There's over 1 million downloads. It's version 6, and it's pretty easy to use. And so then you could tell Midjourney to create photos in relation to the social post, the content, and you can create those. I would have the same branded image of your company and the company name and how to contact you on your post. And there you go. You could have endless social media posts using something like this. All right. One of my favorites. I like books. I like to go to a store like Barnes and Noble, and sometimes I've made the mistake where I look at a book title and it's really intriguing, these titles, right? And then I open up to a certain chapter and I'm reading a few pages and I say, wow, this book's amazing. Like those 2 or 3 pages are just spot on. I really want to dive into what this author's talking about. And then, all right, we start on chapter 1 and we're reading and we're 2, 3 chapters into it and we're saying like, I'm not feeling what I was feeling in the store. I like to use this now to get a good sample of the book, kind of an overview of the book. So I'm using that 4-step prompt format, and I'm saying, you're an expert book reviewer. I'd like you to review a book called fill in the blank. My example, I'm using Atomic Habits. Give me the 10 most important points from the book. Now, ChatGPT might not recognize all books, but it recognizes both of them. It's really surprising. Okay, so here's what it looks like. And I did throw this last one and ask me any questions. Thankfully, it's not asking as many questions. This one is a pretty simple task. So here are the first 3 points that it came back from Atomic Habits by James Clear. Small habits compound over time, and then it kind of unpacks each point. Now, what this can do for you, you could say 10, 20, whatever you want to say, whatever you're open to read to get a general feel for a book. But this gives you an overview of the book in the strongest points. That's going to be a lot more helpful than reading, 2 to 3 pages that I have sometimes done in a store. Now, here's a fun new little task that you could do. ChatGPT has this thing called Task. It is still in beta. It came out in about the beginning of March. And actually, I found out that it just changed like in the last 2 days. So AI changes a lot. But here's what I did, and I thought it was really, really cool. So I said to ChatGPT, identify the 25 most important habits from the book Atomic Habits, and then write 2 paragraphs about each point and send those emails to me once a day for 21 days and have them arrive at 4:15 a.m. And that's what it did. In fact, I put a couple other books in the same format, and from that one command, I would receive an email every day at whatever time I put 4:15, and so on. And what I did is I basically created like a daily devotional about the book, and I'm able to read the content each day, and it helps me sort of focus and also learn about a book. Now, I mentioned that it's changed, and this morning I tried to add a new book, and it says, "Oh, we can't send out emails anymore." And that was annoying to me, and I asked why, and it just said, "We can't." So then I asked it if it would just show up in my ChatGPT each day, and it wouldn't do that. But what it would do is it would identify all 21 points and put them in the prompt, and then I could just go back each day to read the next one. Not as fun, not as cool, but the content is still there. So let me show you an example of one sort of point that it created and then the 2 paragraphs. I'm not going to read it all, but this was the last one that I received from Atomic Habits that I created in the beginning of March. So it identified the power of showing up. Now, this is really, I'm just going to make the point here. It's really talking about how our brains work. And let's say you're trying to create the habit of working out. And it is basically saying, hey, just showing up helps reinforce that habit. Even if you wake up and you're like, the last thing in the world that I want to do today is work out. This is saying if you just show up, that's helping reinforce that because at least you're making it to the gym. This has been really helpful to understand how the brain works. I read this book when it came out a couple of years ago, maybe longer, and it was great, but it's also great to have these reminders of the most powerful points. So I would encourage you, how people learn things is not just hearing things, but it's implementing them and taking action. If you're not using ChatGPT, install it, tell it to review one of your, some book that you're curious about. Have it give you the top 20 points and then have it summarize each point with 1 or 2 paragraphs, whatever you're looking for. But the more you could use this ChatGPT tool, I think the more you're going to find uses for it. Here's another one, a new employee onboarding doc prompt for ChatGPT. So here's the format. You're a human resource manager expert. I own an oral surgery practice. I'm trying to get more organized when it comes to hiring and onboarding new employees. I work in the state of Illinois, so it's going to reference the laws in Illinois, and I want onboarding documents for new employees. Now, I had a list of several items, but this was wonderful for me to get. Welcome letter, employee handbook. I did create an employee handbook using ChatGPT in December this year. With that, it's going to, you have to tell it how many personal days do they get, how many vacation days, how many sick days, and so on. So there are decisions that have to be made, but it will ask you, hey, you need to make these decisions. And then employee forms. It's really helpful to have this all organized and all ChatGPT just drop in a prompt and comes back with amazing information. All right. So this is really popular for those of you who are familiar with AI and you've, watched until now. If you're familiar with AI, you probably didn't learn a lot of things, maybe the task or maybe the updated version. I don't know. But if you're real familiar with AI, then you know that this next thing that I'm going to talk about is very, very popular. And it's called a custom GPT bot. So I want to explain what it is, and then I want to give you a really practical use of it for your oral surgeon practice. So it's basically, it works like a virtual assistant. You can train it and customize it and give it like very specific information. You're kind of, in a way, boxing it out of the entire internet, and you're only feeding that bot the information that you want to get back. And the benefit of this is you're controlling the type of information you get back, and then you could save lots of time and improve efficiency. So let me give you an example, which could really help like an office manager or an oral surgeon, manage the quality of the phone calls and the customer service that's being provided for patients and for incoming calls. So here's how it would work. You record, let's say, 10 great incoming phone calls. Let's say you have maybe 3 or 4 people in your office that can answer the phone, but you have one rock star. Like you just are thrilled when that person answers the phone because you know they do a great job, they have energy, they're super smart, they connect, they have empathy, and then they're very results oriented. So if you wanted to, you could take 10 phone calls from that one employee and then upload them to ChatGPT bot. Then you tell the bot to evaluate these 10 calls and identify various criteria that makes these phone calls outstanding. And what will happen is all future calls can be evaluated based on those 10 outstanding calls. Now, you could record phone calls, put them on an MP3, upload them to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will identify everything that happened on the phone call, and then it will give you a summary or however format you want, which is crazy. And it will say things like, oh, did a great job of connecting with the homeowner, personal, good energy. Could have done better with rescheduling the appointment. Whatever criteria was identified in those 10 calls, it's going to compare those 10 calls to any new calls, and then it's going to give you pointers on how to improve. And it will also give positive feedback as well. Now, you could have a summarized version. You could have a detailed version. Let's say you have an employee that you upload several calls. It's going to identify themes. It's going to say, like, we consistently are identifying that this is not happening based on this great criteria that you fed us with. So it's super helpful. I know a lot of office managers, and they don't have time to be listening to phone calls. Yes, they've trained employees, and yes, they try to create this culture. But when you could have AI listening to phone calls and grading the calls and giving evaluations, boy, that's a really powerful use for a chatbot to use AI for your office. All right. So I think this is the last one, but this is another example. I have several colleagues in my space that are using chatbots in a lot of different ways, as I am. But the first colleague came out and he uploaded everything he got his hands on from Steve Jobs. And then he wanted coaching from Steve Jobs, so to speak, from his teaching about his business. So the first step was he uploaded Steve Jobs' teachings, and there's quite a lot available on the internet. And then he would upload various pieces of data about his company, like, here's my goals, here's my vision, here's our sales, here's where our lead sources are coming from, all the various strategies. And then you say, like, basically you're saying, okay, Steve Jobs, look at all the data and then give me feedback on how to grow my company. And it does, obviously it's not limited to Steve Jobs. Like, you could upload it to any kind of business coach or anyone that you can get your hands on their teaching, which is basically going to be if it's on the internet and if it's available. You could also pick like 3 coaches, 3 of your favorite coaches, and then upload those to a ChatGPT, and then upload your KPIs and your important data, and then receive coaching. Pretty clever, pretty powerful use of AI. I think everyone's predicting that AI is just going to rapidly expand, and we're going to see it more and more inside of our culture. So it's somewhat still pretty early. And if you haven't jumped in, I would encourage you to jump in, try to use it. Don't be afraid of it, embrace it and make it work for you. So again, the best way we learn things is to implement them, not to just have cool ideas. So I would encourage you to write down 3 examples on how you can use ChatGPT to better your practice, and it may be 2 for your practice and 1 for personal use. A lot of people are using ChatGPT for recipes. That's probably the number 1 use for personal use of just asking ChatGPT, how do I make this? How do I make that? Come back with specifics if you're looking for kind of a certain flavor and so on. But try to embrace ChatGPT. I think the more you use it, the more you're going to find different ways to implement this in your oral surgeon practice. We specialize in lead generation. We see ourselves as growth partners for oral surgeons. So if we could help you in any way, we'd love to talk to you. What we typically do is we have a kind of a discovery call and see what you're looking for, and then we can do a deep dive into your online presence and look for opportunities where you might be missing it, where you might be able to gain a competitive edge in your market. And then in a couple of days, I can walk you through that over Zoom, where what the opportunities that we see, and then I could show you what we've done for other clients as well. But it's absolutely free. We're here to help. This is some of the things that we look at when we look for an online presence and we look for opportunities for you. And this is how you can get in touch with us. Our practice is Oral Surgeon Marketing Pros. I hope today was helpful. Again, if we could be of help to you, please reach out. Thanks for joining today.